I think
Mm-hmm.
another point about TransJam possibly going to $10 is a
Mm-hmm.
buyback. I think
Mm.
a buyback would also allow TransJam to drive the stock to $10, and so right now, what TransJam has, what, 12.5 billion shares outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look historically, I'm trying to find it. I don't know if you know, Preston, but
Mm-hmm.
they approved a buyback, I believe, in 2023. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why I can't find it right now.
Yeah, I think it was
Uh,
2023
I believe it was
at the
2023 where
shareholder
the
meeting.
yeah, the shareholder meeting, they amended some articles, just basically giving TransJam the ability to be able to buy back its own shares,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's open market or whether it's um, self tender offer, I believe is the other way. Yeah, self tender offer. I
Mm-hmm.
found the article. It's actually written by David Rose. I'm gonna send it to you right now.
Mm. No, actually, I was looking at the annual report.
Oh, okay.
So it
Okay.
was the 2022 annual report because we said it was in. So it was in 2023, but they're reporting, giving the annual report on the previous year. Um, they talk about this. That you're talking about, where they said shares to be repurchased. So basically, they would buy back. So if you're a shareholder and you wanted to sell your shares, the company itself could, just like how you would see a buy queue or someone who would, like, you say you put your sell order in the queue for someone to sell, or sorry, for someone to buy it. So you say, okay, I have about $10,000 worth of TransJam shares. I want to sell it at this price, and someone Thaon could buy it from you at $10. Thaon could buy it from you at $3, whatever. The company is saying, hey, we will buy your shares instead, and you end up canceling the shares, so you end up having less shares. So it's almost like a buyout to get that person to exit the company, and the company is still make if the company is still making the same amount of profits or whatever, it's like, oh, there's less shares, so it's like the whole supply and demand. You're reducing the
Yeah.
supply of shares out there, but if the business is like still doing well, um, there's increased demand for the shares, then you'll basically increase the share price, or it could increase the share price. But yeah,
Yeah.
do you
Yeah,
really think that
that's
they would buy it? I don't know, because the thing is, if it's a heavy dividend payer,
hmm
then like how I view it, if a company's like making more money than it really needs, yes, you want to invest to grow the company, but at some point there's some companies that they're putting out enough money, they distribute it to the shareholders, give it back to you for owning the shares. Then is that you can pay dividends, or you could do a share buyback. I know most companies, at least on our exchange, if they were to do that, they would pay dividends versus a share buyback. I don't really see many share buybacks on our market.
yeah.
Grace, Cygnus, Kpreet, First Rock, and which other one was there? First Rock, and
There are a couple of them, yes.
there's not that many though. But
Not
yeah, do you
many.
really think that because the money that I feel like if you're looking at it, the money that they are paying out as
hmm
dividends, you think that the shareholders would want that? I guess, would they want
Okay.
a share buyback versus dividends?
Who are the shareholders that you're talking about? I
It's
think
like a lot
that's
of
crucial
like
because
institutions or pensions.
if you're thinking institutions and pensions,
Hmm.
it I think that also depends as well. How are these institutions reporting their investments? Because
Mm.
if they're like me and you, where we don't necessarily love, we're cool with dividends, but we're really in a lot of these investments for capital gains. Some
Hmm.
investors think the same thing. And so when you see a company often not, a buyback often signals that management, sees value in its own stock and has confidence in future earnings and so on. Otherwise, they'll just hoard the cash, right? And for TransJam, which is a relatively stable infrastructure business, if you see them start to initiate a share repurchase program, buyback, that could draw positive attention from not just institutional investors, but retail investors as well. And I think that could drive up the stock price. And I think most people that own TransJam, and remember, the government divested the assets twice, right? I mean, they sold the 20% stake, the remaining 20% stake recently to shareholders. Is it that one of their reasons for doing that is so that we all can participate in this offer as Jamaicans and, we would earn something from it and so on? Then at the same time, yes, while the company is paying dividends, capital gains means a lot to other people as well, especially retail investors. So I think that it would be very prudent of management to actually think about the knock-on effects and not just think about it from the institutions who don't necessarily care about stock price. Right? There are certain pensions that don't care about stock price. A lot of people, don't care about stock price. But I would say most retail investors, if not all retail investors, definitely care about share price and definitely want to see things that will boost share price. Because over time, you want to look at the gain. You want to say, yo, I bought this at IPO and now it's at $10. I'm up, whatever X% on my money. We've seen a lot of stories back in the day of people that their parents bought some shares way back a way and they forget about it. Like, can't remember carb cement. People are talking about carb cement at $2, $3, right? And now carb cement is like $70, $80. TransJam could be something like that as well. It could literally be one of those type of companies. And so I think over time, share buyback would actually be very beneficial for a lot of people, and not just retail, also
No, but do you
institutions.
think it will happen? That they would actually actively buy a lot of shares on the market? Or they do it to like an offer where it's like, oh, you would apply just like with an IPO where you'd go on whatever platform and then submit your shares. Well, you'd be with an IPO, I guess you just like you say, oh, I have $10,000, I want to buy 1,000 shares at $10. It would be similar there where you're offering your sale, it's the reverse, you're offering the shares that you already own for sale.
So the
Do
only
you
way I
think
see that happening
which one? As
is
in either one or that
either
specific
one,
type? Oh.
because you're talking about the self-tender offer where the company says, right now the stock price is trading at, so a self-tender offer is like this. Let's say I own units of TransJam, Preston owns units of TransJam, and you own units of TransJam. It's been trading at $3.60, $3.70 for a long time. The company says, you know what, guys? I think this is a $4.50 stock. So we're going to send out an offer to all shareholders, whoever owns Trans Jamaica Highway shares, that we will buy your shares from you at $4.70.
I will
Right?
buy a certain
So
amount of shares.
certain amount.
So
Yeah, we'll buy a
like
certain
we will
amount.
buy $1 billion worth or
Mm-hmm.
2 billion, I don't know, whatever.
And so you can sell it. It's like almost like a reverse IPO. You can sell your shares to TransJam and collect cash, right? At that price.
Which is it's the company's money is being used for that. So you are
Yes.
electing. So the benefit is that, okay, if you are a shareholder, I think about it, an easy way is like, say me and you run a company and I want to exit the company. You say you don't have, Thaon doesn't have the money to buy my stake. Then what we could do is make the company could have money on its like money that it controls, and it could buy the shares from me. And so what would happen is like, so once again, the same example, we could use Ticker Juice. So you own you own half a Ticker Juice, or the juice company. I own half of the juice company. Let's say the whole company is worth 10 million Jamaican. So your stake is worth 5 million. My stake is worth 5 million. The company say has 5 million or maybe 10 million in cash.
Mm-hmm.
or could borrow money or whatever. So it buys out my shares. So it says, okay, your shares, it will give me 5 million and I will give up my ownership of the company and only you will own the company. So you will now own 100% of the company.
Yeah.
So,
So there are less shares outstanding. I
and no
am
less
the
shareholders usually
less
too.
shareholders
So it's
too.
like it's
Yeah.
going from in that. I mean, that was like a super simplified, like, oh, going from 2 shareholders to 1 shareholder. But it would be like going from TransJam could be 10,000 shareholders and now it's going to 9,000 shareholders or 5,000 shareholders.
True.
And so yeah, there's less amount of what you've done is like shareholders have been able to exit the company, they've walked away with their money, and the next time the company pays out a dividend, if it's making the same amount of money, that means that each shareholder will get more increased dividends. If, like for example, if you stayed in the company,
Mm-hmm.
so think about it. The same example with the ticker juice.
The bag
Say
juice company.
1
Yes.
year, say last year it paid out 1 million in dividends. This
Yes.
year it's planning to pay out 2 million. The
Yes.
first year you got half of that money. I got half of that money. The next year,
Mm-hmm.
because I exited, you get all of that 2 million because you are left in the company. So the people who stay in the company, so basically the people that exit the company get their cash, but then people that stay in the company, they can actually get more of the dividends. If they could even, for example, buy after that too. So if they were already going to buy that, they basically can own. So you can increase your ownership in the company. So if you stayed at um, the same example, you basically went through that example. You went from 50% to 100% ownership, and you, the shareholder, didn't have to do anything. The company
Yeah.
did that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah. That's why
that's,
I think buybacks are so powerful
yeah, I wish they
because
happen more. It's
because when you think
beautiful,
about
yo. It's
it,
beautiful.
and when you think about it from a real perspective, I said there are 12.5 billion shares outstanding right now.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if 2.5 billion shares were just bought back by the company
Mm-hmm.
and there are only 10 billion shares now, and you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
pay that same dividend to
Mm-hmm.
10